But it's what happened in his meditation that I want to tell you about. For almost every single one of them for over 3 years had featured a door. A door. He saw the door metaphorically. He knew what it meant. It was an opportunity to move into something beyond the door. Very clear. But he could sense what was on the other side. There was something more for him. More than that, if he had the ability to open it and go through it, he knew he would never have to come back to where he was. Woe learned to talk to the door. And he knew that the door had a personality, an angelic ability, because it was multidimensional. It could give him information if he wanted. He thought perhaps that the door represented a final lifetime, perhaps even an appropriate death. When it was time, he would walk through it and never have to come back to the planet. He weighed all of these things in his mind. He didn't know what the door was about until he was able to start talking to it. In the vision, he was limited in what he could ask and the answers that could happen, because he knew that he was in a space that was sacred. It didn't work the same way in 3D. The questions he asked were literally that which did not come out of his mouth, but his innate also was involved. That which his consciousness was also involved. He would say to the door, "Who are you?" And the feeling he got, not the voice, because he never heard a voice. He got his messages through his intuition, right into his brain as though there were a voice. And the voice was always too beautiful for words. The voice was genderless. The voice was whatever he wanted to hear. It was the most beautiful sound he could imagine. And he said, "Who are you?" And the voice said, "Whoa, I am your future." He didn't understand it. How can the door be my future? Maybe the other side of the door. He saw the door. He admired it. He loved the fact that there was benevolence on the other side. Occasionally he saw it glow. Underneath the door, he could see light. Whatever was out there in his future, he liked it. Woe continued to have the visions of the door. Sometimes he would simply sit and be with it, knowing that someday he could go through it. He continued to think it was his demise, his death, his last time on the planet, and he looked forward to that time. And then he started asking the door more questions, and it was confusing. "Are you my death?" And the door smiled at him, actually chuckled, and said, "No, Woe, it's your life." Woe didn't understand. In this vision, he felt powerful enough to grab the doorknob and say, "It's time. If it's my life, it's time." And it was locked. He couldn't budge it. Nothing was happening. Nothing. He talked to the door. "I cannot open you." And the door said, "I know." He said to the door, "When can I go through?" And the door said, "Anytime you're ready." And Woe said, "I'm ready now." And the door said, "Come on in." He grasped the doorknob and it wouldn't budge. Pulled and pulled and pulled. This was a frustration. The visions were real. Woe knew who he was. As a light worker extraordinary, He had fought the battles. He knew he was wise in the ways of the world. And the door wouldn't budge. He talked to the door. What am I doing wrong? And the door started talking to him. Whoa, come closer. I didn't say open the door. I said, come through the door. And Woe started to realize what the door was telling him. He had to drop his 3D reality and walk through matter. And he did. Woe literally walked through the door. And in that instant, he got it. Nothing he had ever learned in the old energy was going to work. You can pull on the door. It'll never open. Let me tell you what Woe discovered on the other side, because it shocked him. He wasn't in another world. He was in his world, in another dimension.